Hi everyone, my name's Michelle, I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is episode number 200, I believe, of like the normal ones. I've done lots and lots of others. I've bored you consistently, probably for about 4 years now. But yes, in fact, probably nearly 5. So yes, it's episode number 200. So that's excellent. I'm going to do a little giveaway later on. In fact, let me just jot that down, just to celebrate the 200, and then I'm hoping to do a bit of a bigger giveaway when I get to 14,000 subscribers, which hopefully won't be too long. So I missed you. It feels like I haven't seen you for ages, although I think I've only actually missed 1 week. Excuse me, FlossTube cough. Excuse me, FlossTube cough already. Yeah, I think I've only missed 1 week. We were, not this week just gone, but the week before, we were down on the south coast. We rented a little cabin on a Christmas tree farm, actually. It was lovely. And we had 4 private fishing lakes and we just did a lot of fishing. Chris and Ness like to fly fish. I learned to fly fish. I caught 2 carp. In fact, I think I caught the biggest carp. Now, carp isn't normally what you would go fly fishing for, but it was good fun. It was good fun. And we were down, we were sort of midway really between the North Devon coast and then the south coast, so just outside Taunton. And so we went to Lyme Regis for the day and went fossil hunting. We went to Montacute House, which should have had lots of samplers but didn't have any because the top 2 floors are closed. We went, where else did we go? Wookey Hole. We went to Wookey Hole on the way home. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Wookey Hole is a set of caves. And there's like legends of the Wookey Hole witch and all sorts of things. It's also attached to a paper mill. And so we did a little bit of paper making, and we've done some paper making at home since then. So we just basically had a lovely family weekend, a week away. And then it was time for Gifford Circus, which seems to come round very, very quickly most years. Oh, I've got a butterfly in the house. Seems to come around very quickly. So we went to Gifford Circus on the Saturday night. As usual, it was absolutely fabulous. We had a great time. And then drove back on the Sunday, just in time for my birthday, which was on the Monday. 46, I know, I don't look a day over 85. Ness and I went to see a film at the cinema, and then we cooked outside on my new pizza oven. So I'd asked for a gas pizza oven for my birthday, and so that's what we got. Clubbed together with all the family, got this fabulous pizza oven and had a lovely pizzas. In fact, we're going to have pizzas again tonight. Hence why I'm finishing filming a little bit early. Right, you still there? Right, let's get on with some stitching, because I've got loads and loads of stitching to show you, loads of plans, fully finishes, a new release, some antique samplers to show you that I've been kind of hoarding and keeping. So I'll show you those. So first of all, I'm going to show you my last release and just say a huge thank you to everybody who has purchased Old and Fragile. Now, some people have actually purchased it and stitched it for the very purpose of keeping people off their furniture that it was originally used for in the National Trust House at Hardwick Hall. Mine just sits next to my Stitchy chair and refers probably more to me than the chair. But I just loved it when I saw the phraseology. I just loved it. So thank you to all of those of you who've bought this. And quite a few of you have bought my latest release, which is a little needle book. Now, this is called Maggie. And I designed and stitched this for Laurie Sykes for her planner that she does. And there is going to be another one next year. And so the idea is that in the back of the planner, there were, I think, 4 or 5 designs from various different designers this year. I was one, Christina from Wild Irish Snaps was one, Romy's Creations has got one, Cossard Rise had one, and so they were in the back of there. And so this is the one that I had designed for the back. Now, I really, really liked it. So I messaged Laurie. I was talking to Laurie a few weeks ago, and I messaged her and I said, look, now that we're into the sort of the 7th, well, now the 8th month of the year, would you mind if I release this? Because obviously nobody's going to be purchasing the previous copy of the planner anymore. And she said, no, go ahead. So this is Maggie. And it's a beautiful little magpie on a tree with some berries, and Maggie's been up to some kleptomania, shall we say, some pinching of shiny things, which is there's a little bit in the booklet actually about magpies and where that comes from, so you'll have to read that. But she's pinched some scissors and a little thimble and a needle with some cotton on, and then on the back it just says shiny things. It's held together with some ribbon and cough again, and that's kind of what keeps it together. So you just basically make 2 box tops as if you were going to do a drum lid, and I like to use that flexible what do you call them, table mats, you know, those really sort of cheap flexible table mats that you buy usually for children, or they go under the pet bowl or something like that. They make great innards because they're strong and tough enough without being really thick and really heavy. So I use those to make the circles, and then on the inside I have just added a little bit of felt and a couple of buttons, and I seem to have made myself a little outfit from it. Yes, I was trying to take a picture of it for the chart and trying desperately not to make it look like anything that it shouldn't, but I just thought that was quite fun on the inside. I could have put the buttons elsewhere, yes I could obviously, but I didn't, so it's quite fun. It makes me smile when I open it. So the stitching for this side, if I remember correctly, is 54 by 51. The stitching for this side is a lot less, but obviously you need the same area of fabric to make the back and the front, or you could just make the front if you want to. You don't have to put shiny things on the back. I just quite like the fact that it says shiny things, and in it, contained within, would be all my needles and bits and bobs. Super easy to make, and they're just 2 bits are just sewn together like that to make the 2 halves. So that is now in my Etsy shop as well, should you wish to purchase a copy of that if you didn't get Laurie's planner from, sorry, I'm just tying it back up again. If you didn't get Laurie's planner from last year, and I actually had a lovely lady message me to say how pleased she was that I was releasing it, because actually she bought the planner for this design last year. So there we go, that is available to you. Now before I go too much further, actually, I did write some notes, and the thing that I wrote at the top, which I meant to do as my housekeeping at the very top of the episode and I forgot, was the crow's feet stitching giveaways from a couple of weeks ago. I haven't heard from 2 out of the 3 people. So Laurie Carlson and Barbara Chase, if you can get in touch with me either by email or Instagram, or if you have got in touch with me, please do so again, because I've clearly not seen it, to claim your charts that you won. If you look in the last, it must be the last episode 199, it'll tell you what it is you've won, which chart you've actually won, because I can't remember off the top of my head, I'm very sorry. Right, now I have 2 starts and finishes. And these were as much of a surprise to me as they were to you, or they will be to you. You might remember quite a few episodes ago now, I showed you I had bought a collection of vintage pocket watches that I wanted to use for finishing. And they were all like spares or repairs, broken. All I really wanted them for was the cases. And I started to look around for little designs to go in them. And then I saw these. Jeanette Douglas to the rescue, as she so often is. Now, Jeanette Douglas is the loveliest woman in the world, and she has been designing these Christmas dots. Now, she started in January, and it's only just come to my attention, which probably shows that I've been under a rock somewhere. Now, these are the dots for May, and I have also purchased from Peach Like Needleworks the dots for January as well. But they're on back order at the minute, so I'll have those. So I've stitched these 2, and I stitched them on, it measures as like a 44-46 count fabric, so I did have to use quite a high count fabric, But when I did, they fit beautifully into my little pocket watches. Now these don't have any glass on them. They're just open. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. So that's the little snowman on the pocket watch. And there's the back. Unfortunately, the back had a sticker on it, and for some reason, I just cannot get the discoloration out of the metal. But it'll look ever so sweet hanging on the Christmas tree. So I did that one, which is the little snowman. And then I've done the other one, which is like the little pie. Now, this one of the things that was missing from the case was the little hanger. So I've had to just improvise a little bit and attach my ribbon in a slightly different way, but it doesn't matter. I like the fact, oh, excuse me, too bitchy nose as well. I like the fact that they are kind of vintage cases. And there's that one on the back there. The case for this one on the back had to try to keep popping off, so I put a little bit of super glue on the back of it as well, and it stays in fine. So those are, oops, those are my two little pocket watch finishes, and I will stitch up the two from the January Christmas dots as well, and that'll be 4 little pocket watches for my Christmas tree. So trying to do 12 ornaments this year in fits and starts, shall we say. I have not been able to be particularly, what should we say, regular about doing my Christmas finishes, but I think some months I've done more, some months I've done less, and I think it'll probably work out in the wash in the end. So those are my 2 starts and finishes. But yeah, do check out the Christmas dots. They were stitched originally on 36 count needle and flax fabric. And yeah, I was just reading what it says there. So you get 2 per chart, and the chart I think was only about £4.50. It's not very expensive. And it's to say there are other finishing ideas on JeanetteDouglas.com, so I haven't .ca. So I haven't looked on there yet. I'll see what else she suggests, but they were perfect for my little pocket watches. I think they'd also look really fun just on a banding, all in one, all 12 of them in one go. I think they'd look really fun as well. Right, I don't know, I might take my glasses off. I've been struggling with my glasses, but we went for a walk this morning, and walking up a hill and then walking back down a hill again with my other pair of glasses on, which serve as sunglasses, I just found myself getting a bit dizzy, which is weird because I've had them for ages. But yeah, my eyesight's probably on the boggle. It's got to 46 and gone, no, I don't think so. Right, what else have I been stitching on then? So I've had 3 starts since I saw you last. After sort of confidently saying that I was trying to reduce my width number, I suddenly had lots of things that I had to start, and I've still got 2 other things that I need to start. So let me show you the new starts. So the first new start I had was Ink Circles Quaker Genetics, which I am doing with a lady called Anne who lives in New Zealand. And we started it on the 20th of July, which was Gregor Mendel's birthday. Now this is the one that I'd showed you, my silk choices from Silks for You. Well, I changed them, and I'm going to change them again. I'm sorry, I haven't ironed anything. So this is my start, and as you can see, I've done the 4 along the top, and then I've done sort of some of these others. I'd originally chosen more of like a salmon pink, and I was a bit sad because the colours of the flowers of the peas that Mendel worked on were more of a purple. And in the end, when I tried stitching with that sort of salmony pink colour, just as a single, as a big skein, it looked great. As a single strand, I didn't like it so much. So I ended up swapping it for the skein that was that colour. So I've got a bit of a knot going on here. There we go. Sort that out in a minute. I ended up swapping it for the skein that was that colour, which I'm very happy with. I was pretty confident on this one, but that's the one I don't like. I think it's too jarring. So I think I'm going to look for a softer green, even if it's not a silk, and take that out and carry on with that. It's a really lovely stitch actually, because it's just dead easy to count, and the more of these that you put in, the easier the counting gets. So I'm going to carry on, as I said, with the purple. Let's just put that one strand of floss back in. I'm going to carry on with the purple and look for something else for the green instead. I'll just put the green back into stash. But it started, and I don't think actually with that, when I get a bit of traction on it, I don't think it's going to take that long really. So I started that one before we went away, and then whilst we were away at the cottage or the cabin, I started a cotton and twine box. And I got all the paperwork in here. I started a cotton and twine paper box. No, don't need paper. Cotton and twine box, which was designed Yasmin's Made with Love, which says, "Busy as a bee, my needle and me." So there's that one. And I decided to stitch it on some 32 count pale green from West Green Loft Yarns, which was the same colour that I did my stitch along from Love Pop It On. So I've started, oh, that is, I'll just have to live with that. I've started with the bee and the flowers as well. And I've got a sort of a strand there because I'm tangled in my own hair, finishing that flower down there. So it is a very pale green, but I think it looks nice on that. So I've started that one. Let's put that away. And then I wasn't going to have a birthday start because I needed a birthday start. Like I needed a birthday. Like I needed to be another year older. But my mum had given me some money for my pizza oven, and she said, "Oh, hopefully you'll get something for yourself with it as well." And so I thought, well, I don't really need to kit up a full new project, but what I'll do is I'll get I'll pick something that I want to stitch, and then if there's anything I need for it, I'll get the little bits and bobs for it. So I kept seeing this, which is by Teresa Koga, and it's called Seaworthy. And I think I really want to do the Plum Street Samplers one that's of a similar one. I'll put a picture of it up as well. I can't think of the name of it, which is huge. And I had in mind that this was quite big as well, but it actually isn't. So the main cross-stitch chart, the main Seaworthy sampler, is only 200 by 113. So that isn't huge. And then you've got two smaller projects at the bottom as well, which I really like. So I decided I wanted to start this, and I thought I've got a great piece of fabric for it. It was a Picture This Plus dwarf, I think. And I started it on my birthday, and then I kind of had to admit that the fabric was wrong. It was too dark. There wasn't enough difference between the stitches and the fabric. The fabric needed to be a bit lighter. So on my birthday, I dyed this piece of fabric. Now this piece of fabric is forever going to be known as Birthday Blue. And we've got a hanging thread. We've got all sorts of threads hanging off the fabric as well, because I haven't seen Mum yet and she hasn't been able to serge it, but I shall take it with me. We're going down to Mum's this weekend coming, because we're going the following week up to Scotland. and then to Northumberland on the way back down. So we're going up to Scotland for a week's holiday then. So I'll take this to her and get her to serge it before we go. So this is my fabric. This is birthday blue fabric, and this is where I've got to. It does show up a bit better in person. A lot of it's because I haven't ironed the fabric, and so you're getting a lot of shadow on the fabric. So the fabric is a lovely kind of sky blue, which is exactly what I wanted. I knew the colour I wanted, and the Picture This Plus was just not that colour. So it took about 10 minutes to dye this one, and then I had to restart it on the 29th because it wasn't dry on the 28th. I literally did it at about 6 o'clock in the evening. So that is where I've got to. And that is, comes to about, where have I got to? Comes to about there on the fabric, and it's sort of half as big again. So it's not actually that big. It will fit completely on a piece of a fat 8th, whereas I think the Plum Street Samplers one will take a fat 1/4, unless I've got my perception of that one totally wrong as well, which is entirely possible. I am using the called for threads, except for the 2 blues, because I'd ordered these from Peakside, or some of these threads from Peakside. I had some of them already. And the one blue that was really important, they didn't have in stock, which I think was this one. And so what I did was I went down to my local sort of fabric shop. They do Anchor in there, and I chose the Anchor equivalent. But then I chose the Anchor equivalent of the next colour up as well, just because I knew those 2 blues had to play nicely. So I thought, well, I'll get them as both Anchor ones, and then I know at least they'll play nicely. The called for, there was one over dye called for, a week's dye works called Tarragon. And I don't know whether it's just my Tarragon or whether the dye lot's changed or whatever, but it uses 3022, 3021, which is those 2, and then the Tarragon's supposed to provide sort of like a greeniness, and it doesn't really. So I've switched those 2. I've switched the Tarragon, and I am just using either Weeping Willow or Nature Trail, depending on which one I reach for, and I'll probably just do a combination of both, because there's a big patch of what would be, God, that needs serging so badly. There's a big patch of what would be the Tarragon there, and it is more browny, but it doesn't work for the leaves. It's all too much the same colour. So I may have to look again for that headland bit there, but for the moment I'm doing the Tarragon. No, I'm doing the 2 Classic Colourworks on the leaves and leaving the Tarragon out altogether. So there's that. And then 2 more things that I worked on. You're going to have to forgive me, I'm going to do a floor drop, because otherwise I am going to lose space. There we go. 2 other things that I worked on. I did one evening on Deck the Coop, just because I had, I don't know, a fascination with Deck the Coop. I thought, oh, I'll give that a little bit of love. And I just put in this cloak and the start of her dress here, which actually, the dress and the house, with a little chicken coop there, are probably the 2 biggest bits of stitching. So that is Deck the Coop, and that is on a piece of 36 count fawn, which also has a little Santa stitched on it from Not Forgotten Farm. So I've got Mrs. Santa to do as well, so I'll save a little bit of that for her. And then the other thing that I've been working on is my, where is she? There we go. Anne Grimshaw. Now this is the one that I'm doing 100 sessions of half an hour on. And I managed to get myself completely caught up while we were away. So I had calculated that by Friday the 25th, I should have done 43 sessions on it. If I'd done one a day, I would have done 43 sessions. So I haven't done one a day, but I've done mostly one a day and then some in fits and starts. And by today, which is technically Saturday the 2nd for me, it's the 3rd tomorrow, I should have done 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. So I should have done 51 sessions. That puts me to halfway, and I have done 51. I've done 51. So this is where we are. I had to order from Wool Warehouse 3 new, oh, I didn't have to order 3. I did order 3 new king spools of the black. So these are the bigger ones. They are the 220 meters now? 200 meters, 220 yards. When they first brought out king spools, I'm pretty sure they were 300 meters. Because I've just finished one. So I've got 3 of those. It won't take all 3, but you always need sulky black. And so what have I done? I am almost finished sort of the bottom 10 centimeters. Yay! So that bit there is not much left to do. So I've got a little bit of, I've got one more bit of alphabet to go there. Her name goes in the gap at the bottom there. I've got this one to finish and then this one to finish, and then that will be, it's a bit more than 10 centimetres, maybe 15 centimetres, the bottom 15 centimetres. I've then got 3 more rows of alphabets, bigger ones to do, and then up to the top, oops, just about get it all in where I've got to. So this one here, where are we? Come on, Michelle. This one here is the top of that particular side. I've only got the ones across the top. So I've got to technically there. So I then have to put in this one to be able to get to here. So that's just what I'm doing at the moment. I am putting in that circular motif there, so I can go up to here to try and work out where I need to be. And as I said to you, the edges of this and the way the chart's put together is really quite tricky in places. Throw in a couple of counting errors as well, and we soon have some funny ideas going on. But we're getting there. We're getting there. It is a Quaker sampler. There are some interesting little bits in it, which, you know, for example, up here, these 2 little bits here don't exist on here. I checked the chart, I checked the picture, and they don't exist there. That little motif there is slightly off kilter. So there are some bits where it's not as geometric as you might think it is. So I'm just kind of working on my own way. We'll get there in the end. So I've done 50 sessions, 51 sessions out of 100 sessions that I want to get done on that, to make some really, really good progress on it. And I've really enjoyed it, actually. Just having it sort of sitting in the background as a focus piece. Okay. Right. Now, before I go any further, I want to show you a little bit of Stitchy kindness. Well, actually this is birthday kindness, and I am one of the luckiest people in the world to call Christina from Whilst the Iris Naps one of my very good Stitchy friends, and she sent me a box today, and the box contained both my Christmas present and my birthday present. We're a little bit loose when it comes to kind of timings of things, so she has sent me beautiful things, biscuits, a little lovely tin, a candle and some matches, but she also stitched me something, and obviously from the maestro, that is amazing. So what she stitched me is this little cloche, and it has this beautiful star, yeah, I guess you'd call it kind of a star, in the middle on Swan Bay fabrics. Now she did tell me where the chart was from. Primrose Cottage Stitches, from one of their bigger charts, and the fabric is Mansfield Stone from Swan Bay. Gorgeous colour, and the word gorgeous is underlined, and I do have some Mansfield Stone actually. And she also very kindly sent me some pins from Jersey Girl Stitches from Teresa. And if you've never seen any of Teresa's pins or had any of Teresa's pins, they are well worth having it. I mean, look at these. These two, does it say what the name is? This is called Hallows Manor. And I know Christina's worked with Teresa. In fact, I'll probably keep them on there, it's probably better. Worked with Teresa in the past for Teresa to make pins for Christina's own drums. So let me see if I can. Is that going to work? It's probably a bit too distracting. I know. I'll use the back of the card that Christina sent me. So that one there has got a little black bird on it on top of like a white pumpkin type bead. And this one's got kind of like a spooky, what do you call those? Moon ball, not a moon ball, crystal ball. And sort of on top of black pins. Now they are brilliant Halloween pins. Now I am hoping, there we go, that they will fit into the stitching, and then they can be, oh, I've put them on too much of an angle, let's put them in the middle. There we go. They can be displayed with my beautiful stitching as well. So thank you so much for that, Christina. I am so delighted with that, I'm going to add that to my other collection. I've said to Christina that I need to start stitching for her now. So let's get my thinking cap on for Christmas time. Right, okay. Where are we at now? So let's do the freebie. This is the freebie. So this is by Jean Farish, or Farish. I never know if it's Farish or Farish. And this is called Americana Flag. And it's got the alphabet in there as well, sort of almost like a ghost type alphabet in amongst the red and the white stripes. Now, the reason that I chose this one is because I've been watching a lot of American stitchers on FlossTube just recently, namely people like Saltbox Stitcher, Niecy Lynn. They are starting to get thinking about what they want to stitch to be ready for next year, which is the 250th anniversary of the creation of America. Oh, and creation of USA. And so that made me sort of start to look for that. I do have the American flag by Bygone Stitches, the one that's got the names of all the states in the flag. And I've started that, and I started it a long time ago, and I haven't really gone back to it. So I think I really want to get that out and try and stitch on that, and maybe have that ready for next year, just as a little bit of solidarity. So I will put the link to this one so that you can download it. It's got all of the colours that you'll need, and you get a black and white chart as well as a colour chart. So really nicely designed chart. So that's the freebie. Right, I'm going to have a little show of some samplers that I bought recently. Well, not recently, some of them I've had for a few weeks, some of them I've had a couple of months. I'm going to start off with perhaps the simplest of them. Now, when we went down to the south coast, we then stopped up at Mum's in the Cotswolds on the way back to go to Gifford Circus, which we go to see in Barrington. And Chris unloaded the car and then loaded the car back up again, but without my laptop, which is okay because we're going to see Mum later this weekend, later next week anyway. But all I've wanted to do is to chart things, and I've got loads of things sitting waiting that I need to chart. There's some very exciting things that are coming up. And so I'm like, I haven't got my laptop. So I actually, I don't know why, because I could probably stitch this one straight from it. I actually got some graph paper. In fact, I printed some graph paper off and I started to chart this one manually. And it's this lovely little sampler roll by Edith Bone. So there's Edith Bone, 1884. Now these would have been stitched just like the marking samplers would have been, but these were kind of very much more portable ones. They could be rolled up and kept inside a needlework box. Words are difficult. So that she would be able to refer back to it to make sure that her letters were correct on marking samplers. Now I know exactly how I want to stitch this. I know exactly how I want to finish this. So Edith Bone, July 1884. And I do have another stitch which I believe also belongs to Edith Bone, but it's not named or anything. I'll show you that one day. So she's got 2 of each of the capitals and then 2 of each of the lowercase letters as well, plus her numbers. I just love that. I really, really love that. I can just imagine little Edith stitching that probably when she was 8 to 12, something like that. And then she would have rolled it up and kept it in her needlework box that would have gone with her, perhaps as she was looking to go into service, or just, you know, kept with her throughout her life. It's got a weird, I think after, well, I know it's after Time's sort of silk back to it, but the actual stitched piece, it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. So I am currently reproducing that, and I will start stitching the reproduction for that very soon. And then I can't wait to share with you the finish and the finishing idea. Right. I also have 2 other samplers. The first one, I haven't completely done the research on it, but I believe this is a Yorkshire lass. Her name is Elizabeth Rastrick, which probably with a name like Rastrick, you might think she doesn't really likely come from anywhere else. And this is actually stuck, annoyingly, onto this board. And I need to just have the patience to very, very gently and gradually just peel her off this board. So I love the colours in this one. I really love the colours in this one. So you've got an alphabet and numbers at the top, followed by a second alphabet and numbers, and then this larger alphabet here, capital letters, which puts me in mind of a Quaker style. I don't necessarily think she's a Quaker. In fact, I don't think she's a Quaker, but I love that type of alphabet. And then it says, "In thee I live and move, and am thou numberedst all my days. As thou," you know, I'm really good at reading these passages. "Renewest my being, Lord, let me renew thy praise." Elizabeth Rastrick, age 12. Now, a lot of this is done over one. Some of these, so if I just show you, definitely these are over one, the writing's over one, and I think some of the leaves, when I start to look at the leaves, are over one as well. but really unusual, beautiful colours, soft palette with greens and blues and sort of almost like an ochre yellow. I can't wait to see what the colours look like on the back. I know for sure, as I can just see under that very corner there, that the border is probably at least 2 shades darker. Yeah, it's probably at least 2 shades darker than on that one. But I love that one. I just love the balance of it. Really, really nice. And then this last one is a really interesting one. And I'll show you. Again, this one isn't glued onto the paper, it's sewn onto the paper, but for the moment she's stable, so I'm going to leave her on the paper. So this one I probably won't reproduce. I bought it for interest. And at the top you can see an alphabet, in fact 2 alphabets. What's really interesting is that this alphabet at the top is cross-stitched. This alphabet here is all very, very tiny Algerian islets. So I don't know whether you're going to be able to see that very carefully or very clearly. And the reason I bought this is because it's actually a bilingual sampler. And it's Matthew 12. I'll try and read it. The sum of the whole law. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And at the bottom it's got Psalm, I think it's 84. Why is it important? It's because this section says the same thing but in French. Which shows that this was stitched by probably a very wealthy young girl. And in fact, I think I know who she is. Her name was Anne Taddy, which it says on the bottom there. And I'm sure, 100% sure, that this was stitched in about 1750, maybe 1760. And Anne was from a very, very wealthy family in Margate. I need to do more research. It looks like her mother's family were French, and obviously living in Margate there would have been that sort of, her father was a sea captain, had a fleet of like ships, and so there's that proximity to France. There's that whole, you know, they would have learned French as a wealthy, you might be able to hear the dog in the background, you know, as a wealthy family. Their daughter would have been, perhaps even had a French governess. So this one I don't think I'll ever reproduce, but I bought it because I just found it so, so interesting. Oops. Right. Okay. Just wanted to give you a couple of little plans. First plan of action is to get on with this. The sale for this started on the 1st of August, although I know some people have already done some of the pre-stitching for it. And basically we're going to go through these various different smalls designed by Modern Folk Embroidery and facilitated and helped and ably stitched and loved by Roxy Flossco and Everto. You could buy packs of fabric and threads for this as well, although I just got the booklet, and it comes as a PDF as well, so I've got the booklet and the PDF. It's an absolutely amazing booklet. It really, really is. So you've got those 6 designs, plus Jacob has included about 12 pages at the back of just other free designs. We might be getting a full howl in a minute. So that's my first. Albert! Albert! I don't know why he's howling. Obviously I'm here. The other thing I am going to get on and do is I'm going to join Kenny Stitches in his birthday stitch along, which is perfect because it's the abandoned Sal. So I've got plenty of abandoned Sals. Oh, hello. I've got plenty of abandoned Sals. It's not tea time yet that I need to go back to, so I shall be making a point of picking one of those out and trying to finish it in August. Right, the other thing that I've done these last 2 weeks is watch a lot of FlossTube. So I'm going to give you a little rundown of who I've been watching. So Niecy Lynn, I don't know quite what happened to Niecy Lynn in my algorithm. She just disappeared. She didn't disappear, she just disappeared from my algorithm. And so I've been catching up. Alice, the bowl is empty. I've been catching up a lot on Niecy Lynn. Kansas City Girl in a Colorado, world's newest one, Mama Bear Stitchery, Amanda the Stitching Panda, Brenda the Handwork Maniac, who I loved. She's one of these ones who's been encouraging me to sort of try and get through some of my bigger things. Don't keep sort of stitching just all the smalls to get the wins. Just focus on some of the bigger ones. Lindsay the Cheshire Stitcher, Helen D. There's been a lot of mid-year whip parades around, so I'm really excited about those. Ditsy Daisy Crafts, Pam, Sockbox Stitcher, Stuart in Stitches. So those are the ones that I've been watching. I will list them down below. Right, I just want to tell you a couple of purchases I've made. You can see the wagging his tail in the curtain. A couple of purchases I've made. I have bought 2 advents. So as well as telling you about the Historical Sampler Company advent, which I'm not sure whether it's sold out, but you might want to check quickly, I have bought Corey's Little Shop advent. And I have also bought an advent from the Northumberland Sampler House. I'm not going to do the Evertote Modern Folk Embroidery Roxy Floss one this year, which I'm probably going to live to regret, just because I've got lots of their threads from the last 2 years. I've finished my 2 projects into a little bag, and so I think, well, I want to try Corey's, I want to try Northumberland Sampler House. I'm going to take a little break from Evertote, but I think you can buy theirs at the moment now anyway. Those are the 2 that I've bought, so I can't wait to share those with you during Flossmas. Right, freebie. If you comment the number 200 in your comment, I will pick out 5 people and I will send them a free PDF of their choice from my selection. Okay, so any of my charts, 5 people who comment the number 200, you'll be able to choose one of my PDFs. Right, I've got 2 bits of haul from West Green Loft Yarns, my fabric of the month, excuse the crinkling. This is called, no, that's not it, August 2025, yeah, that is. I'm thinking that's last year. No, August 2025, Willoughby is this year. Good God, 46, can you imagine what the rest of the year is going to be like? So this is Willoughby. It's probably just going to look quite, let's try and, there you go. It's much more of like a stony grey beige colour. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour. Love, love, love. And then the last one I'm going to show you is from Fox and Rabbit. I posted the Fox and Rabbit ones out on Friday, so you should be receiving yours very, very soon. So if you don't want to see what it is for this month, because you haven't received yours yet, then just look away. So it's this one. It's called Smudge. And Smudge is like a very cool, it's probably the lightest grey from white, if you see what I mean. It seems like a very grey, a grey base, very pale, beautiful, beautiful colour. Really, really like it. So there's that one as well. Right, I think that is it from me. I've waffled on for long enough. My brain has failed me on several occasions, but we got there in the end. I will see you next week for a floss tube that will be from the Cotswolds. Ness and I have got a treat box to do from the Try a Treat company. Written something down there, I can't even read it. And I'm going to show you some of my mum's stitching as well. I'll try and get my mum on the video. We'll see. Oh, all chaos is breaking loose. And then there won't be one the week after. There won't be one the week after. So next week, yes, but the week after, no, because we shall be up in Northumberland. So by that point, we'll have done Scotland and we'll be in Northumberland. So anyway, I'm waffling now. The dog's barking. It's all come to pot. See you soon. Stay classy, stitchers.